Hey there, Mike Patty here with Cinesamples, and this is the VOXOS walkthrough video. So VOXOS is our epic virtual choirs, which we initially developed back in 2009, and we just recently went back to Seattle and got a whole bunch of new content, and there's a whole other video just talking about what's new in the library. This one is a full comprehensive walkthrough of all the patches. So this is perfect for anyone that's just new to this library and is just hearing about it for the first time. All right, so what is VOXOS? It's a virtual choir instrument for professionals, which contains a full cinematic choir, boys choir, soloists, an innovative phrase builder, and a highly realistic true legato engine with a feature that we call the voice leading engine. So in this video, I'm going to go through all of that stuff. It might run a little long, but if you look below, I have time markers for all of the sections, so you can skip ahead if you want to learn about something in particular. Okay, here we go. First, the first patch in VOXOS is called the phrase builder. So, phrase builder. Now, what we did is we sampled. The way we did it is we wanted to get realism. There's some other libraries out there that give you incredible flexibility, right? Where you can pretty much make any word you want, but you sacrifice realism. Then there's other libraries that have just maybe ahs and oohs and maybe one or two staccato phrases, and they don't have the flexibility. So I think our goal was to reach that happy medium in the middle. All right, blah, blah, blah. Let me get right to the patch. So on the patch, you have your phrase builder. So you can select each part in the along this timeline here, and you can set it to whatever syllable you want with this syllable selection area. By default, we have some already set up phrases that work really well. And this is how it works. So you load it up, and just right out of the box, you want to play short, so you just play lightly. And you set your mod wheel. In this case, I have a controller, MIDI controller, and this first one is set to CC1, which is the equivalent of a mod wheel on a keyboard. So I'm going to set it somewhere in the middle here. I'm playing lightly, and you get the shorts, and also if I move all the way up here. Right, and the quietest dynamic it kind of goes like this. Right, and you can do. I'm playing chords here, but you can do individual notes. And so, getting to the longs, if you want the longs, you play harder. So it's really all you have is shorts and longs. So longs. Right? And if the particular syllable has a consonant at the end, it will play that consonant upon release of the key. That's the essentials of the phrase builder, and the way everything is cut, it's been all re-chopped, and what you can do is you can actually quantize in this instrument. A lot of the other choir libraries, including our older version of VOXOS, wouldn't allow you to quantize because different syllables have different lengths, right? Sa and ma are much longer than the hard consonants like ka and ta. So what happens is those like longer consonants end up sounding late when you quantize. So it's improved now, and you can quantize it and then shift it a little bit earlier in your sequence, and you have a quantized rhythmic performance. It's really easy to use. Okay, and now all of the patches have a variety of mic positions, and of course the full mix is the default. And that's usually, if you want to just have something that's very lightweight and doesn't take up a lot of RAM, just stick with the full mix. It's just a nice, solid stereo mix. And then you can, if you wanted to, you can load up these close, stage, and far, and surround independently, and create your own mix from there. Set your own levels, and also the surround. If you have if you have a quad set up in your studio, you can route the surrounds to your rear speakers. Okay, and then you have independent control over the volumes of the men and the women. Now this patch has the men and the women, right? Up here are the women, right? And down here are the men, right? And sometimes you might want to just balance them out a little bit, and you can do that right here, or add a little bit of EQ adjustments as well. Okay, now in the settings, this is the sample offset slider. This will allow you to set the sample offset, right? So for certain syllables that are longer, you might want to just cut into them a little bit, because the library by default has a bit of a delay, right? And that is a requirement in order to accomplish this quantization I was talking about. So sometimes if you were doing like a live performance, or you needed real low latency, you might want to mess around with this offset percentage to get a real tight performance. The sacrifice would be that you're going to cut into the sample a little bit more, but it will make it feel a little bit more playable. Let me demonstrate. So I'm going to cut all the way in, and this is... So it's really cutting in, but it's very, responsive. Now I could turn it all the way back. This is the most realistic, but it's... And it's a little bit sluggish, but you're going to get a lot longer attacks on the longer consonants, and and this is more realistic, and it requires a little more MIDI editing to happen, and more shifting to the left in your sequencers. But the sort of the default is sort of midway through here, and that's the best best place for that. Now, dynamic morphing is enabled by default. Dynamic morphing is just what I was talking about in Mod Wheel 1. And that's controlled by, in this case, Dynamic CC is Mod Wheel. Okay? And you can set it to whatever you want. And then also we have the staccato sustain orientation. Again, if you play lightly, you get the shorts, but you can flip that. If you want to have the shorts when you play with a high velocity, you can set that up here just by switching to staccato and high velocity. All right, so that's your overview of the phrase builder. And let's move on, I guess. I hope I'm not getting too technical and boring. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold. So... Good thing I wasn't singing on this library. All right. Legato sections. This is the patch number 2. Now, when we load it up, we get the sopranos, the altos, the tenors, and the basses all loaded. And these are separate performances. So you have independent control over these 4 sections of the choir. Okay? And that sounds like this. So just here's just the... If I were to play 2 notes, you're going to have the sopranos playing the top line and the altos playing the bottom line. If you play 3 notes, I don't know. Let's try. You're going to have soprano, alto, and tenor. So it will, the engine, which we call the voice leading engine, it will separate the voices out for you. So everything is more realistic. And now we have the breath control. C-Scene2 controls what vowel they are singing. In this case, it's oo when it's all the way down, and then it morphs to ah. Right. And mod wheel controls the timbre, or the loudness, the volume of it. Right. And again, we have the mixing control, and you can control the settings to however you want them, to the vowel morph and the dynamic morph, however you want. And we have some detailed controls over the voice settings engine. So if you're not happy with the way certain things are playing, everything is set to a pretty good default. But sometimes, depending on what you're playing, you might want to get tweaky, and there's this advanced section here to mess around with that. All right, I'm going to skip that because I don't understand it. Okay, boys choir. This is the third patch. It's also included in the legato sections patch, but we just split it out for ease. And here's how the boys choir sounds. So by default, it's polylegato, but here's the monolegato. And I would set it to monolegato if you really want to make sure that your melody lines are sounding great. Polylegato is for, for doing like... And by the way, the polyphonic legato in the boys choir and the other legato sections, the legato transitions occur where they're supposed to occur, right? So in this case, I'm going from an A chord to E minor. Well, the C sharp is going to have a legato transition to E, right? The A is going to B, and the E is going to G. It kind of figures this out. It's not just a pad, Okay. So patch 4 is the clusters and textures. And again, you have the women and men are separate. And that's exactly what it is. It's clusters and textures. And then everything has, by the way, this mod control. Like at the lowest, they're all singing with the consonant, the M, and then it goes to all the way up to to like an O to ah, and they're all like that. And there are different types of. If you look at the manual, you can see how we've done this. Some are cluster, some are kind of these diatonic clusters. that are really beautiful and kind of haunting. So these are really fun, especially if you really like to mess around with creating your own sounds. You can take this and synthesize it or do some cool stuff. All right, I'm going to move it on. Then the next one is called Rises, Stabs, and Screams. Now, every choir library needs to have rises. And we have them in several lengths. So this is 1 beat. And then 2 beats is that one. 3. I forget. I think that one's 6 or so at 120. Right, and then you can have just the women or just the men, right? And we got screams and whispers and other weird stuff. Now, okay, you get the idea. All right, now this patch is brand new. This is the Chords patch. So we went when we went back the second time. This was last year. We sampled actual recorded chords and majors and minors and well, we had a kind of a unique way of approaching this to make sure that we had an incredible variety. So this is it's set up in the same way as another library of ours called Cinesamples, where all the majors are here and all the minors are here. And so we have 4 things, right? Oo and ah, both at pianissimo and double forte. So 4 possibilities. Now we're back. These are the minors up here. And this is the full choir, by the way. And then we have some octaves up there. So I'm just playing 2 keys, and you get some pretty awesome stuff. So that's a really fun patch to start writing with. It's I know some people look at it as sort of a shortcut, but at the end of the day, you need to write fast and it needs to sound great. So that's a great patch for that. And this one is the octaves patch. So it's the octaves all set on their own. We do have the octaves in the chords patch, but here it is separated out as its own. So it starts on the C. And it goes up to, I know, forgive me here, I sometimes don't remember. Yeah, okay, it's 2 octaves. And what's great about this one is you can just play a 3-note triad, and it'll sound like it's 3 octaves of a full choir singing this thing. That was all ah, and here's ooh. That's the Octaves patch. That's a fun. That's good for sketching. All right, now let's move on to this sort of the soloists. First one I want to show you is patch number 8. It's the solo soprano, which is the new one. We went back and got sort of a clear tone soprano recorded at the chapel up there in Seattle. And that one sounds like this. So and we also got staccatos, right? It's kind of an effect. So now we have a, this is the what we call the solo soprano legacy. This is the original one. Very high vibrato, kind of very Ennio Morricone vibe. Right? And Solo Boy. Now this one, from the previous version, we had admittedly some tuning issues that we missed. And this has been completely retuned and remixed and stuff. So by the way, with all the legato, I'm kind of skipping over a lot of the functionality things here, but if you were to play lightly, you get this nice slow attack. Right? But if you play with a high velocity, it starts right away. See? And then finally, this last patch, which is good for like comedic stuff. How does this? How does it go? And there you have it. That's those are the patches in the all-new VOXOS, which sometimes we refer to as VOXOS 2 because it's such a significant update. And if you're already an owner of VOXOS, you'll be getting this for free in your user area. So go to cinesamples.com/login, and you can log in there and download it today. So I hope you like it. We put a lot of work into this. This is a really special library. So thanks for watching, and see you soon. Bye-bye.